Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Live Strong podcast. If you're brand new here, hi, my name is Livia. I own a small group and personal training gym in Newcastle, Australia, New South Wales, you know where it is. And this podcast is all about living your healthiest lifestyle infused with a little bit, excuse the little stutter there, a little bit of chaos from my own life here as well. Now, let's start with our high and our low from the past week, guys. We are back to normal programming after our Hyrox recap last week. So hopefully you've gone and listened to that bad boy. If you haven't already, head over there and hear me ramble about my experience at Sydney Hyrox this year. But high for the week is that I am back to training this week. Woo! Cue the party. Whoop, whoop. Yes, finally back to normal programming. I've had sort of 2 weeks off training. I had the week of Hyrox was I didn't do any training that week because I did 2 Hyrox events. So I rested Monday, Tuesday. I competed on Wednesday. I rested Thursday, and then I just did 30-minute light jog on Friday. And then I competed on Saturday. So it was sort of just a competing week, and the way it was split the 2 days, there was no really training involved. So did that week. And then last week I would have trained, but I was sick, remember? So I just decided to have a full rest week. I didn't do anything. I didn't do run club. I didn't do anything. Just rested. And then this week back to normal programming, which has felt really good. I'm going to be sticking to just 4 strength sessions at the moment, 2 upper, 2 lower, and just our 30-minute run club on a Friday, which is, I usually just run a 5K, which is pretty chill, quote unquote. I'm working, but I'm just doing something that's comfortable. So yeah, that's the training plan for the foreseeable month or two. And then I'm going to work out a game plan from there on out. But training felt really good this week. I was super sore from Monday, Tuesday. I tried to not go super hard, but we all know it's hard to go to the gym when I wasn't deloading this week or anything. So, you're not meant to be going at 100% because, I haven't trained probably in 2 weeks, but you get in there and you just want to have a crack. So I probably worked at 85 to 90%, but that meant I've still been really sore. It's Friday now and I'm still really sore from Monday, Tuesday. So that's really good. So that's been my high of the week. My low of the week, I've got a bit of a funny story. So it was a bit of a low in the moment, but it's sort of funny now, which is why I want to tell it. So on what day was it? Wednesday night, I had to go into the gym late. Okay, so it meant that I was leaving the gym close to 9:30 p.m. Okay, now I'm leaving the gym. Already had a bit of a shitty time. Okay, so I'm already not in the best mood. Imagine that. Me and Nath are in the car together, driving home, and like I said, not in the best mood. So we were pretty much silent. I think there was no communication happening, and I was just in the fields driving home. So driving home, the way we drive home every day, we live pretty close to the gym, so it's not a long drive. It's not complicated. Driving. It's dark. It's 9:30 p.m. Driving. I'm in a street where one side of the street, the left-hand side, is bush, sort of bush, it backs onto things. So it's not thick bush. And then on the right-hand side, it's houses. So I'm in a residential area. Driving. And then all of a sudden, something hits my windscreen and just explodes with liquid. And when it hit my windscreen, it was like I'd hit a deer. That's what it felt like. It was loud, dramatic, crazy. So of course I'm driving as well. I slam my brakes on and scream. And I'm like, ah! And Nathan's in the passenger seat keep driving. And I'm like, what? Why? And I'm driving. He's like, there was someone in the bush and they just threw something at the car. He thought it was a can, but I was like, if it was a can and it hit my car, I would have been doing maybe 70 kilometers an hour. I think maybe I was doing 60. I don't know. You sort of it's like a main street sort of thing. So I wasn't doing 40, let's say. It was probably 60. So we're going at a decent pace. So if it was a can, it would have smashed my windscreen, surely. So I think it might have been a water balloon. But anyway, Nathan's like, there was a guy standing in the bush and he's just throwing something in the car. He's like, I saw him standing there. And then obviously that all happened really fast. And I just start hysterically crying. Like I said, I was already like in the feels, and that just topped me off at the edge. And I just like am hysterically crying. And then next minute, Nathan's next to me in the car, and he's like, turn around, let's go back, let's go see him, turn around, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, ah! And then we were only like, we literally live like 7 minutes away from the gym. So like, we must have had like 4 minutes or less and we were home. So like not long at all. But oh my God, it was the odds of that happening after the day I've had. Actually, I've had the weirdest week, guys. This week has just been so interesting. Lots of like, had some like really big positives, like so big, can't tell you much information on that. And also had a few lows this week and everything in the middle. So like this week has just been like a roller coaster, I tell you. But like the bloody water balloon just topped the week off. I was like, I literally drive on this road every single day, multiple times. And obviously I've driven there in the night. Like I finish work at 7:30 most nights. So like it's always dark. Anyway, but as I've thought about it more, firstly, it is just hilarious that happened. And like really lucky, like we didn't have a car crash or anything because it was wet. The road was wet. So like lucky when I slammed my brakes on because like, I don't know what you meant to do that. Like I didn't know what it was so much, but was it animal? Like, I don't know. I didn't know what happened. It was the weirdest thing. But yeah, I could have had a car crash, which like would have been so bad. But like, what are the odds of that timing? It's literally crazy. But yeah, what I was saying was, imagine I slammed my brakes on, which why I think Nathan said keep driving. Like, and then imagine the man tried to get in the car or something. Like maybe that's what he was trying to do. And if I was by myself. So I've decided I'm going to start locking my car when I'm driving in the dark. Tracy advised that. She's like, do you lock your car? And I'm like, no, but I think that's what I'm going to start doing. So anyway, stay safe out there, people. Honestly, that just is the weirdest thing ever, isn't it? Like, I know people do stupid shit like that, but what are the odds of it happening like on that day? It was so strange. Anyway, let's get into today's topic, team, and we are going to be talking about how all of the little things we do in life add up to the end result. So this sort of has come up because we've just done our halfway mark of our Winter Push Challenge. And obviously we do check-ins every week with our challenge clients, but the halfway one, I guess, is a good reflection period for a lot of people and for us as coaches to sort of see really the results you've got over the first 4 weeks and the changes you've made and what we can do to move forward. So we've had a lot of thinking this week in terms of that. But when we think about making change in our life, a lot of people catastrophize it. That's literally Nathan's favorite word. He's like, you're catastrophizing. I feel like that's probably a good way to put this though. Like they make it this really big deal, like weight loss or muscle gain or performance change or just being healthier, eating better, training more. They make it a really big deal. And don't get me wrong, it is a big deal. Like making any change is bloody hard, people. But if we break it up, really all we need to be doing is making small little changes and small little decisions that are reflecting what we want the final outcome to be. And it's not saying like, okay, well, I've got to train 5 days a week. It's like, okay, do I need to train today to get me closer to my goal? And that's where I think we get misled in our fitness journeys a lot of the time. And I think it's easy to buy in to the idea that, like, of the big picture. Like, we buy into the idea of making these grand changes in our life. But we know that that's unrealistic. Like, we already know that fad diets don't work. We know the all or nothing approach doesn't work. We know that the people that get real change are the ones who have a balanced lifestyle, balanced diet, balanced training plan. They're the ones who we see as inspiration, who we see as doing what we want to do or showing up as how we want to show up. They're not the people like killing themselves to get there, because then they wouldn't be doing it all the time. They wouldn't be that person that they are if they were killing themselves every single day, because that's unrealistic. Like, we have to be able to enjoy our life. We have to be able to live a life that's sustainable for us and our beliefs and what we love doing and what we want to be doing, right? So I guess I want to talk about what small things you could be doing that could be making your life better and maybe helping you live your healthiest lifestyle. Because, yeah, we see people as inspiration and we always think, oh, well, they must be, training so much, or they must be only eating healthy. But they just know how to make the right decisions, or not even the right decisions. They know how to make decisions that are positive for who they want to be and for their goal when they need to. And talking about decision making, I find that something that is super interesting and something maybe we take for granted is that everything we do in life, we have a decision to make. Like, everything we do, we have choices from the moment that we wake up. Like, the time that you wake up in the morning, that is a choice, right? So you could get up just before, like with just enough time to get up, get ready for work and go to work. You could get up an hour earlier, maybe you go to the gym or you go for a walk or something. Maybe you get up an hour earlier and you do some study. Maybe that's what you're doing right now. Or maybe you get up late and you end up late for work. They were all choices that you made, right? And I think some people make these choices without thinking about the outcome. And like, I guess I'm deeping the simplest things. But again, this is just where my brain's been going this week, because I'm like, why do some people make these choices that are only negatively impacting who they want to be and, the outcome of their day or, whatever, their session or their work or whatever, but they are making that choice. Like, in the end, they have made the choice to do that action. And that literally comes down to every single thing you do in the day. If you break it down, like, we're getting deep here, but like, every single thing you do is a choice. Like right now, me recording this podcast, I'm doing it nice and early on a Friday morning. I had the choice to do it now or do it later, but I weighed up my options of, is it going to be more beneficial to do it in the morning? I have more time to edit it, blah, 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 blah. But also, I couldn't be fucked doing it right now. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was like, oh, I could just sit down and enjoy my breakfast. I'm watching a podcast, Call Her Daddy with, what's her name? The girl from Love Island's on it. Anyway, off topic. That was I've weighed up the options in my head like over a millisecond, or no, probably like 30 seconds. And then I was like, nah, I'll do it now because I know when I get home later, I want to have lunch and blah, blah, blah. And then, so I weighed up the option and that's why I'm doing it now. And that's going to positively influence the rest of my day. But in saying that, I don't always make the right decision. I very rarely make the right decision, let's be honest. Most of the time, using the podcast as an example, I will sort of weigh this in my head. I'm like, oh, I should just do it now. And then I'm like, nah, I'll do it later. Later comes around and it's ended up stuffing up my day, or I end up not having time to do it later in the day, and then I do it in the next week, or, and the next minute I've fucked myself over. But the thing with that is that you then have to learn from that decision you made to make a better decision next time when you have the choice again. And that's everything. That's like you cancelling your gym booking. Like, maybe you cancel your gym booking for a positive reason. Maybe you're really sore, you're really stressed. Maybe you've got shit to do. Like, maybe shit's blowing up at home and the positive choice for you is to cancel your gym session. Or is the positive choice for you to attend your gym session? Maybe you've had a shit day at work and maybe you think, oh, I've had a fuck day at work, I just want to go home. But maybe going to the gym session is going to actually be a positive outcome for your day. You'll go home feeling a bit better. You've had some sort of endorphins running through the body that makes you feel like you've accomplished something, and it might help you have a better day at work the next day. So again, there's no right or wrong answer sort of in everything. Like, we'll sort of make a choice, we'll move on and continue living our life most of the time. But really, is the choice that you're making going to make a positive effect in where you want to be and who you want to be? Or is it not helping at all? So if we think about that and we think about all those little choices we have, they're all the little things that add up to the big result. The more of those choices that we make that are going to reflect the person that we want to be, then the closer we're going to get to that person and the easier those choices get, because you then don't have to weigh it up. Like, for instance, like me having protein with my breakfast, okay? Protein with your breakfast is one of the hardest things to have, because realistically, you've got to be having like eggs, you've got to be having yogurt, or you've got to be probably having a protein powder infused in somewhere. Really, they're like the simple things that come to mind for me that I would choose as my protein source. Now, back in the day, yeah, having a coffee and some jam on toast, I would do, and it would be fine. And I'd just go, oh, it's easier, it's quicker, blah, 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 blah. But now, there's no way that I would have breakfast without protein, because I know that's going to be influential to the rest of my day. It's going to help me stay fuller for longer. And I know that's the person I want to show up with. I want to be fueling my body properly. So every morning, I don't weigh up the options. I never go, I'm just going to have a quick breakfast. I'm just going to have jam on toast. I literally will never do that, because I know that's not turning up as the person I want to be. And it's not because that's easy. It's because I've had to make that decision many, 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 many times. And I've made that decision so many times now that it is a natural decision for me to make. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm making sense. I feel like this could be hitting deep. Is it hitting deep out there? Because that's like everything, which is crazy when you think about it. Like, everything we do is a choice that you make in your brain. Now, we'll add a little disclaimer here. Obviously, there are times in our life where we don't have a choice. Really. Like, let's think about it. When is a time when we just don't have a choice? I think obviously when you're a kid, or when you are a parent and you are caring for someone, like another human being. That also goes when you're older, maybe you're caring for your parents as well. Like, sometimes we have to put things above ourselves, and that's life, and there's nothing we can do about it. But even in instances like that, I think there are times where you do get some form of a choice. Like, even in the hardest of times. And like, it still comes down, really, like, even in the hardest of times, it still comes down to a choice. Like I said, easier said than done in some instances, that's for sure. But no matter what, everything is still a choice. Like, even as a busy mum, and obviously I'm not speaking from experience here, so please forgive me, but like, as a busy mum, you still eat food. True. And I know a lot of the time you're time poor, and maybe you're just maybe eating what your kids are eating and stuff like that. But that is still a decision that is being made by you, and potentially a decision that could be changed. You know, maybe you have a delivery, like food service, like, you know, what are those, like My Meal Chef or whatever the hell they're called. Like, you know, when you're like, okay, well, I won't have time to cook dinner tonight. The kids are having chicken nuggets and chips. I'll put this meal in the microwave for me. And maybe it's that one extra step, but maybe that's a decision that you're going to make that's going to help you show up as the better version as you, because all these decisions are for you. And even if you're thinking as kids first, you being the best you, or the healthiest you, happiest you, is only going to make you the best mum, right? Or best parent. So again, that's still a decision that's important for you. And sharing as like a personal experience, sort of, when my nan was really sick and passing away, my mum was the primary carer of her. And my mum, and I'm sure she won't mind me sharing this, I'll definitely check with her before posting this, but my mum, throughout the whole phase of my nan being in palliative care, and again, like I said, the sole carer for her, and she did have dementia, so she had no decision making and on her end. So during that whole phase, and I think maybe it was like 4-ish months that period went for, my mum still trained in the gym, and she trained maybe, let's say, she normally trains like 5 days a week. Maybe she trained like 3 days a week. And she wasn't training because, she was worried she was going to get fat, or she was trying to hit a PB in the gym, or, these weren't the reasons, or like I was forcing her because I'm her daughter. Like, they weren't the reasons why she was training. She made the choice and the decision to make that hour for herself because she knew that she was going to be able to show up as the best daughter she could for those hard months, because she was allowed to have that hour of joy and change of mood boost every, few days. And, that's not a choice that is beneficial for everyone. Not saying that that's what you need to do, but I think like it's important, like it's an interesting story to hear, in the sense that the decision you make is individualized to you, no matter the situation that you're in, and it's what you need to be the best you. And in that instance, that's what she needed. She needed to move her body, and that is her happy place, and that's where she gets that social endorphins as well. Like, that was, and also a lot of people in the gym maybe didn't know what she was going through, which sometimes is nice, because then you'd go to work and everyone's like, how are you today? Obviously she wasn't actually working much in that period of time. So like, as a very like personal example, that when you would think that's a time where, okay, well, I can't show up as my best self. Well, yeah, you're probably not going to be hitting a PB in the gym, and you're not going to be in a deficit, and you're not going to be probably achieving X, Y, and Z. But what does your best self look like in that moment, and how can you show up as that best self? Hopefully that lands well with you guys. Because guys going through the challenge, like over the 2-month period, we always have different circumstances that come up. People do lose loved ones. People get sick. Kids get sick. Crazy things happen. People lose their jobs. Like, that happens. And from that moment, you have a choice. And like I said, there's no right or wrong answer, but the answer is going to reflect on the person that you want to be, or how you're going to be your best self. Like, whatever decision you make is going to lead to the person you're going to be in the next foreseeable future, really. And that's every single decision. Going down to the breakfast you have, like if you have a shit breakfast or you don't eat breakfast, your digestion's probably going to be shit throughout the day, and you might be bloody constipated. That's your life for the next 24 hours. You know what I mean? So I know I've got a bit deep there in the whole dying talks and hard circumstances, but that's life. Like, that's literally life. And when we talk about the challenge and we talk about people having hard times, that is real life. And especially in this winter phase, and it's the Winter Push Challenge, a lot of people are getting sick. And again, you have the choice when you're sick. You either rest or you push through. And the people that push through are the people who probably aren't learning about how to be their best self enough. Because if you were trying to be your best self, you would rest, because resting would bring you back to feeling better sooner, faster. But also, it is allowing you to be kind to yourself, which is, I'm sure, a trait that you want to have as well. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there because I feel like I've hit my point. Please tell me I've hit my point. And hopefully this has landed well with you guys. I'm going to send it to our challenge people. Hopefully they have a little listen to. But maybe this is going to make you think what decisions you're making that are giving positive outcomes and what are giving maybe not so positive outcomes. And again, There's not really a right or wrong. Maybe there's something that's going to get you closer to where you want to go, and maybe the other option is going to make you learn a lesson as well. So it all takes time, but yeah, you're like one little decision from being closer to the person you want to be, if you think about it that way. So whatever you do after listening to this podcast, make sure it's going to reflect the person that you want to be showing up as and the person that you want to become. Anyway, that's all from me this week, guys. Happy Friday, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.